At least a year.
And it's different in real life. Like, you see it in person. Like, you see, images are just, we were talking about it outside, that you just can't contextualize them.
Yes.
Like, it looks so odd that you have to see it in the flesh.
It looks like computer graphics in reality.
Yeah, it's the coolest looking fucking production car that's ever been made.
It's bulletproof, literally.
Literally. Yeah.
One of the videos we're going to show is just going all, like, full Al Capone. Just like if Al Capone showed up and emptied the entire magazine of a Tommy gun into the side of the car, you'd be okay.
The only thing that's not bulletproof is the glass.
The glass is optionally bulletproof.
Oh, it is optional?
If you want it, you can make anything bulletproof if you want. But the glass has to be very thick for it to be bulletproof. So it can't go up and down. So if you want fixed glass...
then how do you order drive-through?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's awkward.
You gotta pull ahead, open the door, and get out.
But it's okay. You can just duck.
Yeah, you can just duck. How
duck
far away are you from full, like, delivering them to people? Has anybody gotten them yet?
We plan to do our first deliveries next month.
Oh, wow. So now it's just testing and fucking around?
The hard part by far is manufacturing, not designing the car. And there's just not really a movie about that, but there should be. In the sort of the movies will always be about the sort of inventor who invented the car, and then the job is done.
Right.
Or invented the object. Now the job is done. This is not true. That's the easy part. The hard part is manufacturing by far.
Why is it so much harder than making an individual model?
Well, in order to make it affordable, you have to make it at volume. So you've got to make everything at high rate, consistently. If you tour the production line, you'd have a sense for it. You've got to have all of the casting machines, all of the stamping machines, as the case may be, the glass machines, the wheels, the tires, everything required from the motor, the battery cells, all of the constituents of the battery cells, all of the silicon that goes in there with the chips. The manufacturing is somewhere between 100 and 1,000 times harder than making a prototype.
Whoa.
And then if you want to say, like, you want to get from, once you reach volume manufacturing, which is insanely difficult, then you want to make the car affordable. It's harder to, say, reduce the cost of the car by 20% than it is to get to volume production in the first place. So I really cannot emphasize enough how hard production is relative to design. I'm not saying the design is trivial, because you have to have taste and you have to know what to make. If you don't have taste and judgment, then your prototype will be bad. But it is trivial, really, to churn out prototypes, and it is extremely difficult to build a factory.
And how much more difficult is it to make this, considering the body's made out of steel? It's
very difficult. The difficulty of manufacturing is proportionate to the amount of new technology that you have in a car or in the product. And in this case, there's a lot of new technology. The production line will move as fast as the slowest and least lucky and most foolish part of the entire production line. And you could say, to first approximation, there are 10,000 things that have to go right, at least, for production to work. So if you have 9,999 things that are working and one that isn't, that sets the production rate. Yeah. That's by far the hard part. In fact, really, the amazing thing about automobiles was not so much the invention of the automobile, but the invention of the factory, the mass manufacturing. And for that, Henry Ford deserves a tremendous amount of credit. He was a next-level genius. And in fact, Ford is really responsible for the entire mass manufacturing industry because he actually founded Cadillac, which was the heart of General Motors. Then he got kicked out, then started Ford.
Really?
Yeah, and then everyone just copied him.
Do you know he made one of his first cars out of hemp?
Well,
He used hemp fiber for the panels.
okay.
Yeah, there's a fascinating video of him banging on it with a hammer. Because hemp is bizarrely durable when it's compressed, and when they take the fibers, and I don't know what kind of epoxy they use or something to put it all together. But what it makes with the actual physical form of it is insanely light.
Yeah.
Like fiberglass light, but very, very durable. See if you can find the video. It's kind of crazy. Henry Ford is banging on I believe it was the hood of it with a hammer.
Yeah.
Here it is. So this was like, look at that. Isn't that crazy?
As well.
I don't know why they stopped making them out of that. That was from 1941. How much does the Cybertruck weigh?
It depends on configuration, but it's about, I don't know, 7,000 pounds.
Whoa.
There's different versions, but 7,000 pounds.
And
It's like similar to, like it's a heavy truck.
Like a Ford F-250 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it, because of all of the metal and the weight and everything like that, but with the engines that you have, it's still, the 0 to 60 is pretty bizarre, right? It's like 3.5 or something like that?
We're aiming to get the 0 to 60 below 3 seconds.
Below 3.
Yes.
Wow.
For the, the beast mode version. So we've got a beast mode version. That's, so there's, well, I don't want to give it all away right now, but there are 3 demonstrations. One of them people are aware of, which is, emptying a Tommy gun into the side of the car, a shotgun, 45 and a 9mm, and no penetrations.
Wow.
And it comes that way from the factory.
Can I try it with an arrow?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
You think so?
I mean,
I bet I can get in there.
crossbow might.
I have a 90-pound compound bow that shoots 520 grain arrows at 300 feet per second with a
I think an arrow.
razor sharp broadhead.
We can try it right now if you want.
I wish I had it with me.
Um,
I don't.
Is it at your house or something?
Yeah,
Should we send someone to go get it? We could do the
No.
demo tonight.
that would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe I'll drive back with an arrow sticking out of my car.
I bet I could get in there.
Yeah, okay, I'll bet you can't.
Really?
Yeah, I'll bet you $1.
Damn. I'd like. Damn,
I think
wish
if you have a crossbow that's with enough force, you might a crossbow.
The thing about a
might
crossbow
get
is
it
the
through.
bolt, even though it's very fast, it's not going to be nearly as heavy. You won't have as
but
many
can
grains.
you can make a heavy crossbow bolt.
You could,
Yeah.
yeah, but generally, crossbow bolts are considerably lighter. They're much smaller, and they're much faster. They're moving at like 400, 500 feet per second, easy.
Yeah, I mean the thing that matters is kind of the energy per unit area. So so interesting, like a 9mm or a 45, which is basically sort of a 10mm. The 45 is, they're roughly the same, but the 45 actually is slightly worse penetration than a 9mm.
You know what? I just realized I do have some broadheads. And I have a less powerful bow, but I have an 80-pound bow
Go
back
for it.
there. I think we should do it.
Absolutely.
Okay. When you want to do it right now?
Yeah, I can do it right now.
Okay,
if you
let's
want.
do it right now. Let's
Great.
find out.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. Sick.
We'll be right back.
This could be funny. Well, I'm just like, why does he have an arrow sticking out of his car?
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's a really healthy, good thing to talk about what you're going through with people, the good and the bad. Don't keep it all bottled up. And sometimes that can be friends or family, but it also helps to talk to pros. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. It's therapy that's totally online, which makes it so easy to get started. You just fill out a few quick questions and they match you with someone to talk to. And if you don't get the right match at first, you can switch therapists at any time for free. It's easy, it's flexible, it's wherever you are. Seriously, it's a great thing to try. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JRE today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JRE. If I had a different broadhead, I think we do better.
You can bring it back.
We'll see what we do. We'll get a sense of it here.
Just don't, have the arrow come back in I mean, just beware of ricochets. Like, you might want to do it at a slight angle. You know what I mean?
Blew the arrow apart.
Yeah.
Flatten the tip of the arrow. Look at the tip of the broadhead. That's impressive.
Hey, cutie.
Thank you. Well, now we know. So we just shot an arrow into it, and it barely scratched it. Barely scratched it.
Yeah.
It was probably moving 275 feet a second. That was a 525 grain-ish arrow with, yeah, even more than that, because it had the 125 grain head, so that was 545 grains. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. It just destroyed the broadhead. The broadhead flattened at the tip, and then the arrow blew apart.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's like I said, you could. We have a cool video we'll show at the handover event next month, which is emptying an entire magazine of a Tommy gun, which I think is like on the order of 50 rounds. You're just going full Al Capone, you know, like
And
out on the
you-
side of the car, shotgun, 9mm, 45.
And you built it like this just for fun.
Well, I
Essentially.
mean,
Because it's cooler? Because you can?
you know, trucks are supposed to be tough, right?
Yeah.
So, is your truck bulletproof?
No, mine's definitely not.
Exactly.
And if I shot mine with my bow, it'd go right through it. 100%. 100%.
So if you shoot any normal car, unlike in the movies where people hide behind car doors, a car door is basically very thin, mild steel. So if you shoot a gun at through like a regular truck, it'll go through both doors. So you can't hide behind a car door like they do in the movies. You know, way back in the day, dating myself, but the A-Team where they would like, you know, there'd be like bullets flying everywhere and they'd be hiding behind the car door.
Right.
That doesn't work. But it does in the Cybertruck.
Was there ever...
I mean, it's best in apocalyptic technology.
Yeah, well...
I mean, you never know. I mean,
It's an amazing car to have in the apocalypse.
yeah, exactly.
Does it still do this thing where the ride height raises?
Yeah.
And so you can, and there's also no regular drivetrain, so there's no axles that
Correct.
are the impediment to going over rocks and things like
Yeah,
that.
normally in other vehicles, in gasoline or diesel vehicles, you've got the differential, which hangs down low between the rear wheels. So you look under a truck, there's almost always a differential there that's hanging down pretty low. So if you hit the diff on a rock, you'll break it.
Yeah.
But there's no the bottom of the Cybertruck is completely flat, and it has the best clear height of any vehicle.
How far away are we, if it's ever going to happen at all, from having a vehicle that can operate entirely on solar?
Well, you've got a surface area thing. So it's about a kilowatt per square meter, normal to the sun, roughly. So it really depends on what kind of mileage. You can't, you don't have enough surface area to keep the car going just from the car surface area. But if you had like something that folded out, you could make it self-sustaining.
Something that folded out, so like you could park it and then leave it on.
Yeah, you'd have to like unfold like the Starlink satellites do, where you unfold the solar panels. You just need more surface area. You need.
Is there
So-
any potential for an advancement in technology that would make a smaller area much better at conducting sun? Nothing.
No, it's a kilowatt per square meter. That's what you're going to get when the sun, if you're normal to the sun, so at 90 degrees to the sun.
And there's nothing that could accelerate that, or no.
That's just literally the solar
That's just
energy.
it.
Yeah. So then you multiply your efficiency by that. So if you commercial panels like maybe 25% efficient if they're a good one, so you get like 250 watts per square meter.
There was
which is
one
roughly
car.
10 feet.
What was it, like a Fisker that was using a solar panel that claimed that it was operating like the electronics, like it could start the radio.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely you just don't have enough surface area for it. But like, but you can like certainly you could run a house with solar, with the solar roof and the Tesla solar roof. You can run a house.
But it's never going to get to a point where you can just have a car that's made out of solar panels that it could drive around. It could never be that efficient.
Correct. So you do not have enough surface area.
What research or what breakthroughs have been made in terms of battery technology? Like, how far away are we from having batteries that are far more efficient and last far longer? Because I know there was some talk of like sodium-based batteries.
The battery range is not a problem at this point. I mean, the Model S will go 400 miles. Model 3, Model Y will do over 300 miles. So, you know, that's more than most people need. So, yeah.
Right, but are we? I mean, how far away are we from making batteries that are more efficient? This is like we obviously haven't at least.
This is not. What I'm saying is this is not really a constraint. The point at which you've got a car that can do, let's say, even at highway speeds, 250 miles, then, or let's say 240 miles at 80 miles an hour. Now you're driving for 3 hours straight. And so if you start a trip at, say, 9 a.m., by noon you want to stop for lunch, go to the restroom, grab a coffee. By the time you come back, your car's charged.
How long does it take to fully charge?
Yeah, like half an hour. Well, you don't want to. It's a little, the people will get used to it because it's a little different. You know, like for a gasoline car, you'd want to fill it up. For an electric car, you'd want to actually go very close to zero, and the car can calculate how much range it has with precision. So if you say enter a road trip in a Tesla, it'll calculate all of the supercharges along the way, where you should stop, how much you should charge, and just let the computer do its thing, and it'll work well. So you actually want to charge to about 80%, and then run it down all the way to 10%, I'd say, or less.
Do you want to do that on everyday use as well, or just with long trips?
No, just long trips. If you're trying to minimize the amount of time you stop when charging. So let's say you want to stop for 20, 30 minutes, then you really it's a little counterintuitive because for a gasoline car you would fill it up. For a battery, the charge state tapers off as you get above 80%. You can think of it like I think the right analogy here is cars in a parking lot. So the lithium ions are trying to find a parking space as they move across. From one side of the battery to the other side, from cathode to anode. I mean, they're sort of just these ions are just bouncing around looking for a parking space. So when the parking lot's empty, they can zip right in there and find a spot. It's easy. As the parking lot gets full, just like trying to find a parking space at a mall, you have to hunt around for a spot. And that's basically what's going on. Is the ions are looking for a parking spot. So as the battery gets closer to full, it's harder and harder to find a spot. They have to bounce around more.
So it takes longer
Just like
to get from 80 to 100.
Correct. Getting from 80 to 100, it takes about as much time as getting from 0 to 80.
Oh.
Just think of like the ions got to find a parking spot.
Oh.
And just like if you're in a mall and it's busy, then it takes longer to find a parking spot than if it's empty.
So essentially you're satisfied with the technologies available right now in terms of like the amount of mileage that you get out of it and things along those lines?
Yeah, range is not an issue. Cost is more of an issue. So just need to make the car affordable. A long-range car needs to be affordable.
When you fully roll out, how many of those things, how many Cybertrucks can you guys make a month?
We're aiming to make about 200,000 a year at volume production.
Wow.
Maybe a little more. But I just can't emphasize enough that manufacturing is much, much harder than the initial design. You can...